Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for your coming in my presentation. Today I will present about the introduction to risk management in banking. Okay, before I start my presentation, I will give you a quotes by Mahatma Gandhi. Learn as if you will live forever. Live like you will die tomorrow. Okay, let's go to start my presentation. The first is the contents of presentation. The first is definition. The second is types of banking risk. The third is step of risk management. The fourth is benefit of risk management. And the last is difference in risk management in Islamic banking and banking conventional. Okay, I will start by the definition. Risk management in banking is theoretically defined as the logical development and execution of a plan to deal with potential losses. Usually, the focus of the risk management practice in the banking industry is to manage an institution exposure to losses or risks and to protect the value of its asset. Okay, the second of the types of risk. The first is credit risk. Credit risk is the risk resulting from the failure of the debtor and or other parties to fulfill their obligation to the bank. Credit risk generally exists in all bank activities, but performance depend on the performance of the counterparty, issuer, borrower, and the other performance. Credit risk can also be caused by concentrated provision of funds to the debtor, geographic areas, product types of financing, or certain business field. The risk is commonly called credit concentration risk and must also be taken into account in the assessment of interest risk. The second is market risk. Market risk is the risk on balance sheet and off balance sheet position, including derivative transaction due to change in the market condition, including the risk of change in option prices. Market risk includes, among other, interest rate risk, exchange rate risk, equity risk, and a commonly risk. The risk can more come from both trading book position and a banking book position. Okay, the third is liquidity risk. Liquidity risk is the risk due to the bank's inability to meet maturity obligations from cash, flow funding sources, and or from high quality liquid asset can be pledged as collateral without dispersing the bank activities and financial condition. And the fourth is operational risk. Is risk due to inadequate or malfunction internal processes, human error, system failure, and external events that affect the bank operation. Sources of the risk include human resources, process, system, and external event. And next is legal risk. Legal risk is the risk that arise as a result of lawsuit and weakness of the juridical aspect. This risk can also arise, among others, due to absence of the underlying laws and regulation or the weakness in the engagement, such as non-fulfill of the condition for a valid contract or inadequate collateral. The next is strategic risk. The strategic risk is the risk due to the bank inaccuracy in making decision and implementing a strategic decision, as well as failure to anticipate change in the business environment. Sources of strategic risk, among other, arise from weakness in the strategy formulation process and inaccuracies in strategy formulation, inaccuracies in strategy implementation, and failure to anticipate change in the business environment. And the next is compliance risk. Is the risk that arises as a result of the bank not complying and not implementing the applicable laws and regulation. Sources of compliance risk arise due to the lack of understanding or legal awareness of generally accepted business provision and standard. And the last is reputational risk. Reputational risk is due to decreases in the level of stakeholder trust originating from negative perspective of the bank. Okay, the next subject, I will continue to steps of risk management. The steps is the first is identify risk. Before a project even gets started, it is important that any potential risks are identified and a strategy for managing such risk development. The second is analyze, evaluate risk. With a list in a place that highlights which risk you will be taking on during the project, you can start looking closely at each of them and deciding what kind of threat they actually are. The third step is threat risk. No one likes to have to deal with risk, but it is an unavoidable part of doing business. The goal is to make the level of risk acceptable to the organization and to take steps that minimize the element of risk as much as possible. And the last is monitoring and review risk. Initial risk management plans will never be perfect. Risk analysis, result, and management plans should be adapted periodically. Okay, next, the benefit. The application of risk management in banking will increase stakeholder value, provide information to the bank managers on the possibility of failure losses, improve method, and make systematic decisions based on available information. This information is used as a basis for measuring more accurate bank performance, assessing the risk of bank business activities, and creating a strong risk management infrastructure to improve bank competitiveness. As from the banking supervisory authority, the implementation of risk management will make it easier to assess the risk of losses faced by banks that can affect capital, as well as basis for assessment in determining bank strategy and supervision. And the last is a different about the Islamic banking risk management and the conventional risk management. Okay, the first is risk event. Risk event or can be defined the occurrence of an event that can create a potential loss and undefined outcome. The correlation with the difference between the Islamic bank risk management and conventional bank from this point of view is the absence of interest as Islamic bank instrument provide a more relaxed breadth of banking Sharia to manage yes securities portfolio. The second is law. The principle adopted in the application of risk management refer to the one of principle in the science of banking known as set as Sharia. Technically, set as Sharia can be defined as preventive attitude and application of the uh, precautionary principle to prevent and mitigating the risk of violation. Another risk by consistently pay attention to aspects of growth, productivity, profit levels, benefit, and the benefit of legal action in a optimal condition. Meanwhile, in conventional banks, the legal basis is only rely on positive law. And the third is operational. Islamic banks are not allowed to assess derivative transactions. They are considered to be as a fairly affected instrument to protect credit risk. And the last is product. Islamic bank only offer foreign exchange trading such product in the form of a sport, namely foreign exchange purchasing transaction for delivery at the time uh, for completion within 2 days. The law is permission because it is considered cash, while the time of 2 days is considered as an incomplete settlement process can be avoided. As from the form of buying and selling foreign exchange forward, swap, and the legal option is haram. Okay, I will finish my presentation. Thank you for your attention and thank you for your coming in my presentation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.